Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is Power Season 6, Episode 12, He Always Wins. So we start out the episode foreshadowing, and I thought that this would have been Tommy's point of view this week, but it's not. And I'm guessing they're keeping that for last because we'll talk about that at the end of this commentary because it gets real interesting. But this is actually from Paz's point of view. And I just want to say, based off of last week, I posted a question, and the question was, who killed James? I don't know. After watching this episode, James may be dead, but what I know is Paz did not do it. And then there was another player that was introduced into this, actually two players, but we'll talk about that later on in the commentary. So she's just, we're revisiting, I guess, we're looking at all the things that have led up to this moment. And so it initially starts with Paz walking through a hospital. I heard noise. You could hear people talking. Then all of a sudden it went quiet. And I was like, what is going on? I don't play with the dead people game, and that's what was going on. She's got it just seemed like a scary movie. She actually was having a bad dream, and in her dream, James was like, yeah, I did it, and you were too late. You couldn't protect your sister. So her sister is still haunting her. She wakes up out of her sleep, and within seconds of waking up, her father's in the room going off. He's talking about, where am I? What's going on? She runs in the room, and apparently she's caring for her father now. So because without Angela's money, of course, they can't afford to put him in the nursing home or have people take care of him. So that's her job. So while she's in there, trying to calm her father down, James pops up on the TV, and now Paz sees that he's actually running for governor, and it sets her mind ablaze. She goes crazy. Now she's on the case again, and she's going to start running around doing all kinds of, stuff that's just over the top because now she sees he's running for governor. So across town, Warner is with Mac, and he's trying to get information about Sax because he knows Mac is pretty much the only person that's really, he said that is still alive, that was in close proximity with Sax, so maybe he can give him some information. Mac is not trying to hear anything Warner's got going on. He's really not cooperating with him, but he did tell him about the Teresi situation. And see, Warner knows there's some mess to it because he knows that Angela gave Mac the recommendation. So he's like, okay, so why was she trying to get rid of you? Why did she help you? What's going on? Warner's kind of on their case. He's not really digging too deep yet, but, it gets better. So Paz goes to Tasha's house, and she's like, he's running for governor, blah, 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 blah. We got to take him down. Tasha's like, listen, I already did what I tried to do what I could. It's not working. And I think the whole thing, Tasha had the opportunity right there to tell her about Terry Silver. She really has tried to take him down, but she tells Paz, there's no beating him. We can't win. So Paz is like, oh, he already made you lose one of your children. And, so Tasha's like, hold on, slow down. Wait a minute. He did not kill Raina, just like he did not kill your sister. Paz is not trying to hear anything. So she storms out of there like, okay, Tasha, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to do it myself. So she goes home. Her son is there trying to help take care of the father. The father is a straight G. He's not taking his pills. He doesn't want to cooperate. So Paz has got her own, stress going on. And then to add insult to injury, the son is getting tired of dealing with the grandfather. So Paz runs inside her room. She grabs the gun, which is interesting because later on she winds up having the burner and money. But okay, so she grabs the piece. She leaves. Now we saw that she was the one sitting in the car. Now remember the episode, a couple episodes back, when James was running around getting everybody his behind to kiss. He knew somebody. He felt like somebody was watching him. But what kind of saved him was the ambulance going by. So Paz has got the piece. She's in the car. She hops out the car. I think that was the opportunity where she was about to get James. And then the ambulance run by, it drew a little bit of attention. She jumps back in the car. So now she's all stressed out. James is gone. So Paz goes down to the attorney, down to the Warner's office. So Warner's down there going off on the security, like, hold on, how did Cooper Sax get in my office? This is a breach of security. They're like, oh, the front desk people are like, oh, well, his badge still worked. It's that Warner's like, that's the problem. How does his badge still work when he was fired days ago? There's no way his badge should still be working. He could have killed me in that office. So he's flipping out on them. Then here comes Paz. She goes to the front desk, and she's like, hey, I'm looking for Cooper Sax. So Warner's standing behind. The people at the front doesn't say anything. Warner's looking at them like, okay, Cooper Saxe doesn't work here anymore. Like, that's what they're supposed to be saying, but for some reason they haven't caught on. So Paz is like, what do you mean he doesn't work here? So now Warner's like, all right, this is the sister. Let me go over here and now we're going to have this conversation. So Warner apologizes to Paz for Saxe's misconduct and, tells her that he botched the case. So she's like, what do you mean he botched the case? So now she runs over to Saxe's house and she's like, why didn't you arrest Jamie? You promised to do so. So Saxe has to tell Paz the same thing that everyone else has been telling her. James didn't kill your sister. We looked into it. As much as I thought that was the case, he didn't do it. So she's like, I don't care. Pretty much Paz is not trying to hear anything that anyone has to say. If James is not in jail for the murder of her sister, she's just not going to be happy. And I must say, this is the first time that I've seen anyone that is more irrational and more gung-ho than Saxe himself. Paz is on a mission. She's not trying to stop. She's not trying to hit anything. Make sure you guys have subscribed to my channel. Hit the blue bell for notifications. Thumbs me up and comment down below what are y'all thinking about the episode thus far. Okay, so we all know that Paz met with her sister once, she was going to be, they started looking at her. She had 24 hours to make her decision whether or not she wanted to help, help the right side or the bad side. Well, we don't know who's right or wrong in this anyway. But anyway, so Saxe tells Paz, like, your sister was in deep, and we knew that she was in danger, and we are kind of responsible for letting her get those 24 hours to go back up with them to try to come up with a plan and figure out how they were going to get out of this mess. So, in essence, it's kind of our fault because we knew that Angie was in danger. And Paz is still like, okay, well, even so, what are we going to do to get James? Because this is all his fault. So she goes home. Her son is like, as soon as she walks through the door, hey, did you get these money? All he's concerned about is going to school, going back to school, making sure they have the money. And honestly, I'm not even faulting him for his mindset. But Paz is like, no, it's deeper than that. They're processing the money. So she's lying to her son. Then she finally tells him a little bit, maybe, Angie was in deeper than what we thought. And that's the issue. So her son's like, oh, so in essence, she did this to herself. Paz does not want to hear that. No, James did this to her. So Paz is still on this, she's going way too hard, focusing on the wrong things. But I think as we go on, we see she's slowly starting to understand that her sister was not as innocent as she wanted her to be. But she tells her son, hey, your aunt is responsible for this house. She's responsible for you being in school. She's responsible for everything. The son is like, okay, well, she's dead now. So can we just do what we got to do to get her money going? So Paz tells her son there's one more move that she can make, but it's going to dishonor her sister. And the son's like, oh, well, she's already dishonored. Look where we are, whatever. So Paz goes to the office and she's talking to Warner like, hey, what if I can give you evidence that can connect my sister to James St. Patrick's criminal ring? He was like, well, now that would implicate your sister as part of a criminal enterprise. Just understand, by doing that, you're going to blow the pension. You're going to blow any of her honorable mentions, anything positive. It's down the drain, once you do this. Paz is like, well, I don't care. I just want justice. He's like, no, what you want is revenge. So she like, yeah, that too. So pretty much we know Paz is about to pull a real gangster move. And I think this was stupid of her, but she does it. And Saxe is like, okay, so what do you have? We know what she had, and soon they will as well. So in order to get the evidence, they had to exhume the body. Paz is standing there with Warner. They pull up Angie. They had to go get the phone. It was in there with her old, raggedy, decrepit feet. This was insane. I couldn't believe Paz pulled this move. Like, of all the things that she could have done, why would she do that? She's so focused on trying to destroy James that she's about to destroy everything. There's no way. Me personally, I would not have done this. So y'all comment down below, would y'all have exhumed your sister's body just to take down somebody and pretty much blow everything up in the process? Because see, she's not thinking about her son. She's not thinking about her father. She's not thinking about anything except destroying James. And in essence, destroying Tasha and her family. Like, Paz has no other focus except to destroy James. And I think in the process, she's going to wind up destroying herself. And all of this was in vain because the SIM card is ruined. The techie said that there were messages saved on the phone, outgoing messages, but it was like one word here, one word there. Yes, as far as meeting up, they knew that she was meeting with someone. They didn't know who. So Warner's like, hey, I told you this might not end well for your sister. It hasn't. We know she was up to something tricky. We don't know what. We don't know with who. And we can't prove it was with James. Can you, affirmatively say that the messages were between her and James? Paz is like, no. But at the end of the day, she was communicating with Tasha, so now she put Tasha in the mix. But maybe James was using Tasha as the middleman. Of course, we know that's not true. Paz knows it's not true either, but she's grasping for straws. So Warner's like, okay, it's time to let it go. Paz is like, no, we can't let it go. I dug up my sister. Just strap me up. Send me in. She wants to wear a wire to trap James up. And Warner's like, no, for what? For a murder that we know he did not commit, for, where it's going to border on harassment. She's like, no, for the criminal enterprise. Paz doesn't care anything about the criminal side of things. She just wants to know what's going on with her sister. So Warner, he takes the bait. He's like, all right, fine, we'll put you in there. So Paz goes in there with James, and they're talking, and Paz had him right on the fence. She asked him, what was my sister doing? I want to know who my sister was. Why would she throw her whole life away for you? And James is like, she would have sacrificed everything to keep all of us out of jail. And Warner's listening like, oh, yeah, keep talking. While she's talking to James, Tasha calls the phone. She left her phone in the office with Warner. So Warner's listening, and Paz had him. And then she's like, well, what did my sister do to protect y'all? And, he was like, yeah, she would have put it all on the line to save all of us. She saved my family more than once. So Paz, instead of digging deeper and getting him for that, because Warner's whole focus is the RICO Act. That's what they're trying to get him for. Instead of staying on the script, she says, well, Jamie, I just need to know who killed my sister. Who did it? Because I know you didn't do it. Warner's like, God, she messed up right there. So now we're back on this whole thing about who killed the sister. Now James isn't going to talk because he was actually opening up way too much. And then also, Now the son is calling her phone. Her phone is just going off while it's in the office with Warner. Warner turns the phone off, because he's not focused about why the son is calling and Tasha's calling, even though he should have been focused on that Tasha phone call. But anyway, so Paz blows it. Now she's going back to the office, and Warner's pretty much like, we've had professionals that could not crack this man. So he's telling her she did a good job, but at the end of the day, now this really does implicate your sister. We've got him on recording saying that she has helped them. So your sister's dirty, so now it's like inevitable. The pension benefits will definitely be withheld. You're not going to get anything. So now Paz runs up out of there. She sees her son has been calling. Apparently the father's in a hospital. We already know that her son was getting tired of his grandfather. The grandfather's probably getting on his nerves because he suffers from dementia. So Paz is like, we're not going to tell him that Angie is deceased. Anyway, the grandson got tired of his grandfather. He told him the truth. Grandfather and messed around and had an anxiety attack, which mimicked a heart attack. So now he's in the hospital. He can't go home. And the son is like, I had to tell him because he was getting on my nerves. But I didn't think I was going to kill him. So he was like, I shouldn't even be taking care of him. I'm not a nurse. I should be at school. So now Paz has to break it to her son. You're not going to school. It's over. I ruined my sister's reputation. So blah, blah, blah. And James is still free. So the son is like, well, there's ways to deal with street dudes. We should deal with street dudes doing street stuff. And Paz like, no. We can't do that. There's another way, because Warner told Paz that, all hope is not lost. They're looking at him for possibly being involved with the murder of an attorney. We know that's Terry Silver. So Paz knows this information, but she doesn't know who it is. So she's telling her son, don't do anything stupid. I think we're gonna handle this. So she goes to the salon. She gets her check. That's where she meets up with Blanca, and Blanca tells her, hey, it's over. Sachs told me to come let you know the case is over. We just got to let this thing with James go. So Paz goes to Tasha's house. She's feeling defeated. She tells her, yeah, everything fell through just like you said it would. He can't be defeated. We can't win. We can't beat him. So Tasha's like, yeah, been there, done that. I understand your feeling. And then Tasha gets to talking way too much. She tells Paz, yeah, I owe your sister. Me and your sister were working together. Your sister put her life on the line. She died trying to save my son, So Paz is looking like, what? Come again? Okay, now there's more information. So now we're sparking Paz's her crazy fire again. Here we go. So Tasha, I think in her relating, this should have been the opportunity where she told Paz about Terry Silver, not about Tariq and Angela dying trying to save her son. Come on. So Tasha's like, I just want you to know something. He's moving on with this woman named Ramona. Pa's like, wait a minute. He just told me he would love my sister forever this morning. Tasha's like, yeah, that's kind of what he does. He loves everybody forever. But he's still moving on. So now she knows about Ramona. She storms up out of there because now she's mad again. So now Paz doesn't know what else to do. She goes to Tommy because at Angela's funeral, Tommy did say, if you ever need anything, come see me. So now she's all frantic and acting crazy and sweating and talking fast. She rolls up over to Tommy's house. I need you to go kill James for me. Tommy's like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on, no. She pulls out money. She's trying to give him the money. She's like, don't play with me. Don't F with me, Tommy. We all know what you do in the neighborhood. Tommy's like, hold on. But she's like, I need you to kill the person who killed my sister. Tommy's like, can't do that because I'd have to get rid of myself. But anyway, so she tries to push the money at him. He don't want the money. And then she's like, Angela was a good person. Jamie's evil. He's horrible. Look what he did to my sister. He killed my sister. Tommy was like, well, the fact of the matter is your sister wasn't that great. I know you think she was, but she wasn't. So just take a beat. And, we all do crazy things for the people we love. And then he looks at her and looks at the gun like, look at what you're doing for your sister. He's like, I need you to leave or I'm going to have to call the cops. Of all the people in the world, Tommy told her he was going to call the cops. So he pushes Paz out the house. He knows he can't get too involved, or if he does, he can't let Paz know that he's involved. So, this is just crazy. So now he closes the door on Paz and she's got to go. So now Paz has exhausted all resources. She's tried to do this thing the legal way and the illegal way, and it just seems like she cannot get rid of James. So she goes home. She decides to put the gun and the money on her dresser next to Angela, a picture of her and Angela. We all know that just can't end well, but okay. So her son listens. She's laying in her bed rolling around crying. He's listening to his mother, cry, and she pretty much just cries herself to sleep. Meanwhile, we got Blanca over here. Now, we remember she got Dre to confess to seeing, James get rid of Terry Silver, kill Terry Silver. And so Warner cusses Blanca out like, come on, he was going to admit to that. We can't get Judge Tapper to actually sign off on this. Blanca's like, well, we've already decided to move. We already got Dre moving into protective custody right now. So I got the signature. I got the statement. Let's move on James. Warner's not about to do this at all. Warner knows this is all, this is too backhanded. It's not going to work. So Warner's out. So he kicks Blanca out of his office. Before the door could fully close, there's another knock at the door. Warner's like, okay, who now? It's this new man named Stephen Ott, and he is so fine. But anyway, he says, his name is Stephen Ott. He is with the Democratic Party. Like, what type of title is that? So you just Democratic Party? That's when when someone comes through with a real, vague title like that, yeah, don't fool with him. But he was like, we got word that Angela Valdez's body was exhumed. And Warner's like, okay, well, I can't comment on matters like that. He's like, no. I don't think you understand me. What I'm saying is the case is closed. You shouldn't be looking into it. James St. Patrick is property of the Democratic Party at this point, and you need to let this go. You're done. Case closed. Leave it alone. So he walks out the office, just real cavalier. Now Warner's looking at this as a challenge. So Warner's like, who the hell are you gonna walk in my office and tell me? So now he's looking at this confession by Dre. And now he takes this, and because of the challenge that was just presented to him, he's going to use this shady information, and he goes over there to Judge Tapper. Judge Tapper does not want to be bothered. He's smoking his cigars, living his life, having him a drink. He's like, okay, not again. What do you need now? So Warner walks in, and he's like, hey, I got new evidence. He presents him with the confession from Dre. So now Tapper's like, all right, now we got something. So now we're back on this James St. Patrick thing. Now, Steve just told Warner to leave this alone. But, Warner's not going to leave it alone. So here we go again down the James St. Patrick rabbit hole. Paz awakens from her peaceful slumber and she realizes that the gun is gone from the dresser. So she instantly knows Junior took the gun. She somehow is able to make it downtown and meets Junior right before he walks into the Truth nightclub, because remember they were having their little thing tonight, and Junior had said at the hospital that he knew people that could get to him. And he knew that the party was that night. So anyway, she grabs the gun. She goes into the bathroom. And she's pacing back and forth. She goes into a stall. So I'm thinking she's going to stand in the stall until everyone else clears out. And then, go ahead and handle her business. That's not what she did. She goes in the stall. She catches her breath. Paz is still real frantic. So, whatever. She took the gun from her son because she was like, she didn't want him to throw his life away. So he needs to go home. So at this point, Paz just going to have to take things to her own hands. And she's going out of the bathroom, I think she got her nerve. She passes Ramona. Ramona's like, hey, Paz Valdez. Paz kept walking. Then Ramona introduced herself. So Paz was like, wait a minute, because remember, Tasha just told her that the woman that he's moving on with is named Ramona. Ramona says, hey, I want to thank you. I wasn't eavesdropping earlier, but I want to thank you for making me see what a great man James St. Patrick is. Paz was like, wait a minute, what? This whole dynamic was strange to me because Ramona heard the conversation. So why would you now then thank her? Because you see she stormed out of there hurt because James didn't give her what she was looking for. So now you're thanking her. I'm going to say this. In my last commentary, one of my commenters said something about Ramona being the one who shot James. And I was like, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that. But after this little exchange here, I don't know, my subscriber might be onto something. So Paz snaps on Ramona, and she's like, you're one of the few people who can actually take him down. And it was strange because Ramona had this really bewildered look on her face, almost like demonic. And she looks at Paz and she was just like, there are some people who cannot be stopped. And she kind of had a really weird face. So now I'm thinking that Ramona's a plant. I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, Paz leaves out the bathroom. She's walking around the club looking for James. She finally sees James. He's, shaking hands and kissing babies. And she pulls the burner out of her purse. And I'm just like, in public, right here, Paz, in front of everybody. So you're just going to throw all of everything away just to take this man out. Like, Paz has really lost it. But anyway, I think she thinks twice. James sees her, but she walks out. So James sees her as she's going. And I'm just like, he's real comfortable for somebody who has so many enemies. Like, there are so many opportunities they had to take him out that there's just there's no surprise there that somebody finally, took that chance and went ahead and pulled the trigger. So siding with her better judgment, Paz goes to the hospital. She's talking to her father, and she's like apologizing for not being able to shoot James that night. And the father kind of snaps out of his dementia and is like, oh, hey, Paz, instead of calling her Angela, because that's what he always does. And he pretty much gives her the history of her name. And he was just like, everything came easy for Angie. But for you, it's always been a battle. You always had to fight for stuff. And he said, me and your mother tried for a long time to have you, and that's why we named you. We just wanted peace. And then we got pregnant, so we named you Paz. So she goes home. She's sleeping on the couch with her son. All of a sudden, they wake up to breaking news. The son is like, hold on, James is dead. You said you didn't do it. You lied. Mom is like, nah, I didn't do it. So now we know Paz did not shoot James. So the question remains, who shot James St. Patrick? So back at the office, the new dude, Steve, pops up on Warner. Like, didn't I tell you to leave this situation alone? You just couldn't. And Warner's like, what do you mean? Like, oh, so y'all want to, the Democratic Party wants to, make evidence go away. And Steve is like, hey, this is above your pay grade. But it was a good run for you. At least you're getting out alive. Pretty much telling Warner his job is done. He's over. He's fired. Warner's like, man, get the F out of my office. So Steve was like, don't worry. The call is coming soon. Before Steve could even leave, the call came. So now we know Warner is out. So just like Tamika, he's been replaced, and I don't know who's going to be next, but they have to come through guns a-blazing because, yeah, that was quick. Warner overstepped. He was told not to pursue James, and he did. This just, to me, tells me that James is still alive, and maybe the Democratic Party has him in hiding because they know he's in danger, but something is up. So Paz goes up to the office. She's looking for Warner. Warner's not there. Blanca, meets up with her. I thought from the last episode that Blanca was in, cahoots with her, but apparently not. Paz wants to get her sister's body replanted into the ground. So Paz makes that, Blanca makes that happen. So as she's over there, of course, of all the people in the world that she could call to be with her, she calls Sax. So Sax is there with her. She's leaving as they put Angela's body back into the ground. She gets a call from an attorney. So she gets her son. She goes to the attorney's office, and apparently they're settling James's estate. And at the attorney's office is Crazy Kate. She's excited. She's all happy. So we know James must have gave her some money, and she's like, oh yeah, I gotta call my other son and let him know, ungrateful, blah blah blah. So James left money to Kate. Apparently he left something to Paz as well, but who other does Paz run into than Tasha, looking like a happy widow. So Tasha was slayed. She looks good. This is the first time I've seen Tasha look good this whole season, because I don't know, she's just been looking real dusty ever since her and James really fell apart. So Paz is up there. She's like, I don't want the money. I don't want anything he left me. Tasha's like, listen, I want you to have this. Why is Tasha like, I want you, like it was her decision? So it kind of makes me think Tasha's the one that pulled the trigger. And apparently Paz thought the same thing because she asked her, Tasha, did you do this? Tasha didn't answer the question. So Tasha's avoiding that. She didn't say, of course I wouldn't shoot him. Of course I didn't. Whatever the case may be, Tasha looks like a brand new woman, and she's telling Paz, you better take that money and go live your life and make sure you do what you have to do for you and your son. So through all of this, Tasha decides to let Paz know, hey, Tommy's the one who killed your sister. It wasn't James. And this just changes Paz's whole perspective on everything. But the picture that Tasha painted was not the picture that was actually, you know, it wasn't a fact. She told Paz the reason that he did it was because, you know, Angela was in the way. No, the reason he did it is because he missed Angela's body. Angela jumped in the way of the bullet. That's what really happened. But anyway, so Paz she's furious. She goes to Tommy's house. She's got the gun out. She goes in there. All of a sudden, Tommy's house is cleared out. Like, Tommy is gone. No trace of him. Nowhere to be found. And I'm like, wait a minute. Episodes ago, Tasha and Tommy used to talk back and forth about, you know, getting rid of Ghost. And it was just so weird because Tasha never really seemed like she didn't want him to be around. Like, she wanted him to be dead, but she never really seemed like that was, you know, that wasn't really her focus. But now that he's gone, it seems like, I don't know what happened. Or I can't wait to see her perspective of things, because something had to trigger something in Tasha to where she's cool with him being gone now. She doesn't even care. But anyway, Tommy has skipped town. He's moved out. No trace of him, and Paz is in the middle of his you know, old house, screaming Tommy's name. So where's Tommy, y'all? Well, anyway, thank you all for you know, watching my commentary. Make sure you comment down below what y'all are thinking, because this episode is wild. And share, subscribe, and thumbs me up. All right, let's do this again next week.